Right in the middle of the artificial Bluewaters Island off the coast of Dubai, engineers built a gigantic machine that many people once considered almost impossible. Ain Dubai, the tallest and largest observation wheel in the world. Constructed from more than 11,200 tons of steel, this massive wheel rises over 250 meters above the sea, carrying 48 enormous cabins capable of transporting up to 1,750 passengers at the same time. But what truly shocked the world was not its size, but the way this colossal machine was built in the middle of the ocean. How were engineers able to lift a central spindle weighing nearly 1,800 tons, hundreds of meters into the air, while keeping the entire structure perfectly balanced? And why, after breaking multiple world records, did this gigantic observation wheel suddenly fall into silence for years? In today's video, join Mandarin Tech as we uncover the secrets behind Dubai's most colossal and mysterious megastructure. Ain Dubai. For decades, Dubai has turned the construction of impossible mega-projects into part of its identity, continuously creating landmarks that few places on Earth had ever dared to build. But in 2013, Dubai began pursuing an even more ambitious vision, building the largest observation wheel on the planet right in the middle of the artificial Bluewaters Island. Developed by Midair with a budget of hundreds of millions of US dollars, the project was designed to create a new icon capable of surpassing both the London Eye in the United Kingdom and the High Roller in Las Vegas. After 6 years of construction, along with 2 major delays caused by the pandemic and technical issues, the megastructure officially opened in October 2021. During Expo 2020. But less than a year later, the gigantic observation wheel suddenly fell into prolonged silence, with almost no clear explanation ever publicly revealed. Then in 2024, Ain Dubai suddenly lit up once again. The cabins began moving, the operating systems restarted, and the Eye of Dubai reopened to visitors after more than 2 years of shutdown. But this unexpected comeback raised an even bigger question than before. What had really happened inside this colossal machine? To turn this ambition into reality, Dubai first had to expand its own territory into the sea. Bluewaters Island was created through a massive land reclamation process involving breakwaters, dredging vessels, and millions of tons of material continuously pumped onto the seabed. Over time, an entirely new island slowly emerged from the ocean, and it would eventually become the site chosen for the largest observation wheel on Earth. But constructing a steel megastructure weighing more than 11,000 tons on top of an artificial island became an extreme engineering challenge. To solve this problem, engineers installed a gigantic foundation system made up of deep bored piles drilled through the loose artificial sand layer and anchored 35 meters down into the bedrock beneath the seabed. As a result, the weight of the observation wheel does not rest on a single grain of sand from Bluewaters Island. The island's only role is to provide lateral support, preventing the foundation piles from tilting under the immense pressure of the ocean. Once the foundations were secured, the next challenge was erecting the 4 gigantic steel support legs. Each of these legs measured up to 126 meters in length, only 9 meters shorter than the entire height of the London Eye. They were fabricated as single massive sections inside the United Arab Emirates and had to be transported across the Arabian Sea in pairs on giant barges before finally reaching the mega project site. However, the greatest challenge was gravity imbalance. Once lifted into the air and rotated upright by super heavy lift cranes, these enormous support legs could not stand independently on their own. Engineers had to stabilize and hold tens of thousands of tons of steel at an extremely precise angle in the powerful winds of the Persian Gulf. Even a slight movement caused by strong wind or lifting inaccuracies could shift the entire center of gravity, snap the anchoring cables, and push the whole system to the edge of collapse. After the 4 gigantic support legs had finally been secured at their precise angle, the machine was still missing its most important component, the heart that would connect the entire system together. That component was the hub and spindle, the central rotating assembly weighing nearly 1,800 tons, equivalent to 4 Airbus A380 aircraft stacked together. Engineers simultaneously deployed two super cranes, one fixed crane belonging to the largest class in the world and the most powerful mobile crane on Earth at the time, creating a combined lifting capacity of approximately 6,000 tons. Simply keeping this enormous steel structure stable in midair was already an extremely dangerous engineering challenge. The installation tolerance allowed was only around 6 millimeters. Engineers spent 4 continuous weeks welding the hub permanently onto the 4 support legs. Only after the final weld was completed did Ain Dubai finally possess a structural backbone strong enough to support the largest observation wheel on Earth. After the central spindle had been secured, the most dangerous phase truly began, creating Ain Dubai's gigantic circular wheel high above the ground. To assemble a massive observation wheel without any support underneath, engineers used a temporary structural system made of rigid steel spokes instead of the tension cable system used in the final design, allowing the entire wheel to remain stable throughout the assembly process. The outer rim was divided into 8 triangular sections, similar to slices of a wheel of cheese. Each section was lifted into place like a steel bridge, spanning across 2 adjacent temporary spokes. The first section was jacked up to a height of 100 meters, followed by the second section in the same way. Each cycle like this took between 3 and 4 weeks. Every element of the temporary structure was painted white, not for aesthetics, but to prevent uneven thermal expansion caused by Dubai's intense heat. This measure was extremely important to avoid any warping or buckling of the rim. Once all 8 sections had been connected into a complete circle, the temporary structure began to be dismantled. The massive steel spokes were gradually replaced by 192 high-strength cables, each containing hundreds of smaller steel wires inside. If all of these steel wires were connected end-to-end, their total length would stretch from Dubai to Cairo, approximately 2,400 kilometers. The entire replacement process lasted nearly 6 months. Engineers were only allowed to remove 1 spoke at a time, then tension the new cable, inspect the stress distribution, and only then move on to the next position. Only after the final cable had been fully tensioned could Ain Dubai finally stand entirely on its own structural system. Once the wheel's structural frame had been completed, engineers moved on to the final stage, installing the 48 passenger cabins onto the rim. Unlike conventional observation wheels, Ain Dubai's cabins are suspended on the outside of the wheel to maximize visibility, but this also made the balance calculations far more complicated. Each cabin can carry up to 40 passengers and is nearly twice the size and weight of the cabins used on the London Eye. They were installed in a perfectly symmetrical layout around the wheel so the weight could be evenly distributed across the rotating structure. The goal was to prevent the wheel from becoming unbalanced and overloading the drive mechanism below. But the most unique feature lies inside the cabins themselves. The cabins rotate at the same speed as the main wheel, but in the opposite direction, allowing the floor to remain perfectly level, whether the cabin is at the very top or bottom of the wheel. Passengers can walk around, take photographs, and enjoy the view without feeling any noticeable swaying. The 48 cabins were lifted one by one, locked onto the anchor points around the rim, and fully tested. Once the final cabin had been installed, Ain Dubai was finally ready for its 38-minute journey, carrying visitors more than 250 meters above the Dubai skyline. Ain Dubai does not operate using gigantic gear systems, as many people imagine. Instead, the entire wheel is supported and driven by a system of industrial friction tires installed at the base structure. Each tire measures up to 1,070 millimeters in diameter and weighs more than 77 kilograms, many times larger than a normal car tire. Powered by hydraulic motors, these tires press tightly against the rim of the wheel and function as friction rollers, generating the force needed to slowly rotate the entire structure without relying on complex gear systems. Each tire is continuously monitored through a smart pressure sensing system to ensure maximum safety. To keep the cabin floors perfectly level, Ain Dubai uses an electro-hydraulic mechanism that automatically rotates the cabins in the opposite direction of the main wheel. Thanks to a network of sensors and real-time motor adjustments, passengers inside experience almost no shaking or swaying, regardless of where the cabin is positioned on the wheel. Ain Dubai was originally expected to open in time for Expo 2020, but after multiple delays, the gigantic observation wheel did not officially open until October 21st, 2021, with a total construction cost of approximately 1 billion AED, equivalent to 270 million US dollars. However, only a few months later, the entire system suddenly stopped operating. The only explanation publicly announced at the time was periodic upgrades. Then in April 2023, the operator announced an indefinite closure without providing any further detailed explanation. Soon afterward, the central spindle of the wheel became covered in scaffolding, while TÜV, the German safety inspection organization that had previously certified the project, also quietly withdrew its technical certification. Then in 2024, Ain Dubai suddenly lit up once again. The cabins began moving and the operating systems were restarted. But even after the wheel returned to operation, many major questions still remained unanswered. What truly happened inside the heart of this colossal machine remains a mystery without a complete explanation. Although the real reason behind the shutdown was never fully disclosed, Ain Dubai once again reopened to welcome visitors from around the world, closing one of the most mysterious chapters in the history of modern megastructures. With a journey lasting 38 minutes at a height of more than 250 meters, visitors can experience the entire Dubai skyline through a full 360-degree view. From the illuminated skyscrapers of Dubai Marina, the artificial islands of Palm Jumeirah, and the sail-shaped Burj Al Arab, to the distant silhouette of Burj Khalifa, the entire city appears like a gigantic model suspended between the desert and the sea. The experience takes place inside fully enclosed cabins equipped with air conditioning and floor-to-ceiling glass walls, creating the sensation of floating in the sky above the ocean. But Ain Dubai is no longer just a tourist attraction. Over time, it has evolved into one of Dubai's most luxurious event venues. Private cabins can be transformed into sky restaurants, birthday party spaces, exclusive lounges, or even proposal locations hundreds of meters above the ground. Amid the lights of Dubai Marina and the shimmering waters below, Ain Dubai is no longer simply a gigantic machine. It has become a symbol of ambition, technology, and Dubai's ability to turn the impossible into reality. And perhaps that is what defines Dubai most clearly. The city never stops building structures that push far beyond conventional limits, despite enormous costs, engineering risks, and controversies with no clear end. And Ain Dubai stands as the clearest proof of that ambition. A machine created not only to operate, but to become a symbol that makes the world look up in awe. From an artificial island reclaimed from the sea, Dubai built one of the most ambitious machines ever created by humanity. Ain Dubai is not only the largest observation wheel in the world, but also proof of how modern engineering can transform ideas that once seemed impossible into reality. But behind the dazzling lights in the cabins suspended high above the skyline lie thousands of tons of steel, engineering calculations accurate to the millimeter, and a mysterious shutdown period that, even today, still has no complete explanation. And perhaps that is exactly what makes Ain Dubai so extraordinary. It is not simply a tourist attraction or a symbol of Dubai's luxury, but a reminder that the further humanity pushes the limits of engineering, the more it must confront risks and challenges that have never existed before. And what about you? Would you dare step onto this gigantic observation wheel to witness the entire city of Dubai from a height of more than 250 meters? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Mandarin Tech to continue exploring the most insane mega projects in the world in future videos.